Lincoln Park police officer was shot earlier today. Police are speaking right now. We're going to listen in right now as they continue with that news conference.
Possible somebody getting covered up with a blanket or something with that doesn't be accurate. Right now, this is what we know so far at this very beginning of this point, is officers conducting a narcotics either search warrant or some type of investigation. The suspect involved in that investigation saw the narcotics. Some were in uniform, some were undercover, saw them begin to run. You can see behind me, they ran across this field back here from this neighborhood. As he ran across here, multiple officers and the suspect exchanged fire with each other, resulting in the one officer and the one suspect being struck. Some of the officers have body cameras and some don't, so this is going to take us a little bit of time to kind of work our way through, looking for different video, things like that. So that's where we are at this point. Not much more to go on until we really start going through. As you see behind me, we'll start plotting out the crime scene. We have one of our drones up that are going to plot out the crime scene out here as well. And then a lot of it is going to be interviewing those officers that were involved and then the suspect themselves. You know, every hospital is so different now. The words that this hospital used was stable. So that was the words I'll use as well. But I don't think it's life-threatening, but that's not up to us. That can always change. And that's for both the suspect and the officer. I was told lower body part. I don't have his location where he was shot at. So. On foot.
But it was part of an operation?
Correct. Part of a narcotics investigation.
And this was the person they were kind of had in mind?
Correct. Yep. One suspect and multiple officers. Yep. No, we won't have that for a while.
It's still unclear right now who fired first.
We may never know that.
How long did the pursuit go on for?
Oh, from that neighborhood all the way over to here, so it's a pretty good distance. Even further back behind there. So it's kind of a long crime scene over here, but it looks like, I know it takes us a while, we're going to have our canines go there and actually look for shell casings and stuff, but it looks like a majority of the gunfight took place here in front. Yes, yeah, for sure. Correct, yeah. One more time? We believe it's 4 right now. Multiple officers fired. So what we'll do now is, it's actually called a round count, where we'll go through all their weapons. We know how many rounds they were issued, and then what we'll do is we'll compare that with the amount of casings that we find out here, and that's kind of how we get that estimate of how many shots were fired.
And the suspect's weapon was recovered?
Yes.
And to confirm, all 4 officers were from the Lincoln Park Police Department?
Yes, everybody was Lincoln Park. Yeah.
The officer that was struck, do we know anything about him, how long he'd been with the force? Is he on the
I'll leave that to Lincoln Park. I'm not sure about his employment status or any of that.
And we don't know if the suspect fired any shots too.
We understand that the suspect fired as well.
And you mentioned that not everyone had body cameras.
You'd have to ask Lincoln Park that.
When they said they saw a helicopter arriving, that medical helicopter, is that anything like that involved?
No, they were transported by ambulance.
Are you proud?
Oh, this will be here probably. They probably won't get out here at about 3 o'clock this morning. Yeah.
How difficult, I guess, does it make the investigation? As you mentioned, you never know who fired first, but some body cameras. How difficult is this investigation must be to kind of figure out the details?
Well, naturally, body cameras make things a lot easier for us to determine what happened. But at times, too, even with the body camera, it's hard to determine what exactly happened depending on the position of the officer, where their hands were and stuff like that. So we're kind of used to going without the body camera. The body camera is kind of like an extra bonus, but we'll go through there, and I'm sure they're going to look through and see if they can find some video and things like that. And then, you know, what the suspect says if he decides to speak, and also with the officers. So, and then kind of pinning that all together and putting it together what happened.
So he's alert and conscious?
Last I heard, he was
All right, you just heard from Lieutenant Mike Shaw with the Michigan State Police. He is talking about what he described as a gunfight between multiple officers and a suspect. He says the people involved are listed in stable condition. That officer was doing a narcotics investigation when this happened. We'll give you more updates on this developing story later on CBS News Detroit at 6, also on our website, cbsdetroit.com.